I hope you're okay. I hope you're all staying fit and healthy and enjoying some of the sunshine that we're having. So I just thought I would film me reading a story for you, and you can either choose to watch this maybe at bedtime or maybe during the day when you're having a quiet moment. So the story that I've chosen today is called The Great Goat Chase. Okay, here it is. Mr. Farmer had a field, and in this field he decided to grow some turnips. He ploughed the field and sowed the seeds in long, neat rows, up and down, until the whole field was full with turnip seeds. The seeds grew and grew and grew, and soon every row was filled with large, round, plump turnips. Now, Mr. Farmer had 3 goats, which he milked every morning. But one day, Mr. Farmer left the gate open, and the goats slipped through it and tripped down the road right into the turnip field. They could hardly believe their luck. Straight away, they began to chop the turnips, row after row after row. Mr. Farmer, who was having a late morning cup of tea, looked out of the kitchen window and saw the goats chewing up his turnips. "Oh no!" he wailed, running out of the door, spilling his tea everywhere. Mr. Farmer then tried to chase the goats out of the field, but those goats had minds of their own. One ran this way, one ran that way, and the third ran another. Could Mr. Farmer get the goats out of the turnip field? No, he couldn't. "I know," said Mr. Farmer. "I'll get Dog." He gave Dog a loud whistle, and Dog came running. He rushed into the field and tried to herd the goats. But Dog was a sheepdog, and these were goats. One went this way, one went that way, and the third went another, round and round the field until Dog was exhausted. Could Dog get the goats out of the turnip field? No, he couldn't. As Mr. Farmer and Dog stood at the gate wondering what to do, Horse stuck his head over the fence. "What's the matter?" he asked. "Are those silly goats too fast for you?" "Probably," said Mr. Farmer wearily. "Never mind, I've got good long legs," said Horse. "I'll have them out of the turnip field in no time." Horse jumped over the fence and raced up the field, sending turnips flying. Now Horse was bigger and faster than the goats, but they could turn more easily. One turned this way, one turned that way, and one turned the other way. Could Horse get the goats out of the turnip field? No, he couldn't. As Horse sat down beside Mr. Farmer and Dog, Cow came up to them. "Let me show you how it's done. My horns are big and I'll send them on their way." And so they did. One goat went scampering this way, one goat went scampering that way, and the third goat went scampering another. Could Cow get the goats out of that field? No, he couldn't. Now Pig, who had been grinning at all of the efforts of his friends, decided to show them how it was done. "It's time to get tough," he said. "Show them a bit of muscle." Pig puffed up his great shoulders and trotted into the turnip field. Then he dropped his head and charged with all of his might. One goat nimbly tripped this way, one goat nimbly tripped the other way, and the third goat tripped another way. Could Pig scare the goats out of the turnip field? No, he couldn't. Mr. Farmer, Dog, Horse, Cow, and Pig all sat down and cried their eyes out. "Ooh-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo," they cried. Just then, a little busy bee came buzzing by. "What's the matter?" she asked. When they all told her, she said, "I'll get those goats out of that turnip field." "You?" they exclaimed. "You, a teeny-weeny, tiny-weeny, totty-witty, teeny-weeny bee?" "Yes, me," she said. Mr. Farmer, Dog, Horse, Cow, and Pig all stopped crying and began laughing until they were on their backs with their legs in the air. When they had finished splitting their sides, Little Bee said, Can I go and get the goats out of the turnip field now? All right, off you go, they said, drying their eyes. Little Busy Bee flew into the turnip field. She buzzed around and the goats' heads, and then she said, What do you think she's going to do to them? Can you guess? What's a bee got on his bottom? If you don't leave the field right now, I'll sting you on your bottoms. Could Little Busy Bee get those goats out of that turnip field? Yes, she could. The goats didn't need to be told twice, and as fast as their little hooves could carry them, they were off up the gate and into the field on the hillside. At the gate, Mr. Farmer, dog, horse, cow and pig all stood feeling very silly. Sorry, Little Bee, they said humbly, and they all agreed that sometimes little folk can do things much better than big folk. The end. Can you think of another story that has got a big turnip in it? I bet you can. Anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow for another story. Bye, everybody.